I just want to clarify something. Ken, you were asking for something, I think, substantially different than what you just said. Ken was looking for an analysis that said how much have we saved by through
Right,
through the
there's a
program.
drop-off from 83 to 66%, 81% down to 66% on the
Right.
tuition line. And we've absorbed other costs internally.
Right.
I was looking for some kind of a balance on that.
I can try to
You
work
can-
on something that would.
We have finite costs associated with the positions that we've
Yeah,
hired
right.
in to realize some of those savings.
Right. I can do it on the larger categories, the salaries, the transportation, and the tuition. The smaller items, I may not be able to do. But I will come up with something for you. I'll have something for you for the next meeting.
Questions? Mike?
Actually going to the minutes from, let me just make sure I get them right here. December 9th.
Operations or the full board meeting?
Full board,
December 9th?
December 9th, page 5. That's where I'm referring to. There were a couple of, I guess there was a discussion about committee organization, assignments, and liaisons. And Linda, I don't know if you can answer this, or maybe wait until next month when board members are here. But I had a couple of questions. One, it was mentioned that at the top, Chairman Blossom, that there's no longer a transportation committee. I was wondering where that went to. Did transportation go into operations, or I didn't catch that?
There used to be members from the board assigned to a transportation committee, and they only met when needed. So when it was time to renegotiate the contract, or to go out to bid for the contract, or if there was an issue, which we haven't had anything. And the way the policy is written, if there's an issue, the chain doesn't necessarily take it through the transportation committee. It takes it to the full board if it gets to that point. So they didn't feel it was necessary to have appointed members of a transportation committee.
The other question right below it that I had.
It said there was a recommendation, or Chairman Bloss recommended that the board members rotate serving as liaison to the Guilford High School Building Committee and Standing Building Committee. My question, or concern, I guess, was the rotating of board members, and I started thinking about consistency. We have different people from the board attending and rotating. I think I couldn't come to grips whether that was a good suggestion or recommendation to make, or because I know before, for example, this board does have someone consistent, and I believe the Board of Selectmen does. But I was wondering, why the Board of Ed decided to rotate it through. And again, that might be a question more for the board to address.
I can
Unless
bring
you-
that question back to the board and have them address that with you.
It's just a consistency issue more than anything. I just thought having everyone rotate through might actually be more confusing, but.
Maybe it's an advantage and I'm not seeing it.
I have a suspicion it has to do with the number of standing committees that they have. Nick.
They do have a lot, yeah.
Just a couple of paragraphs prior to that. They detail the Operations Committee, the Policy Committee, Land Acquisition Committee, Standing Fields Committee, the Wellness Committee, Regional Education Service Center assignment, Technology Committee. So my suspicion is that is probably the reason. Because I think, unlike this board, we don't have any employees, and one of their employees is a regular attendee at both of those meetings.
That's a good point.
Would that perhaps be the reason?
That could be the reason,
Okay.
yes.
Linda, you don't have to bring that to the next.
Thank you, Matt.
If you'd like to.
You're welcome. Of course, I could be completely wrong. But wouldn't be the first time this week. Oh, wait, it's on Monday. Others?
Linda, on the warrant report, it looks like we maybe only received the odd numbered pages. Yeah.
Really?
I was trying to follow a line on on page 25, and I went back, and it was school specialty, and then, yeah, we only have the odd number pages.
I have an even number page.
Oh, I didn't get it.
Which pages are we looking at, 25?
This is the 1/9/2004.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, got it.
I have a page 24.
I have page 24, 25, we'll have page
Well,
26.
if you could just scoot them over by page, that'd be great.
Yeah, actually, I might have another copy with me.
That's interesting. I know. Collated out of the same machine? So what do you have, 2 page 25s or just the
No,
odd?
I just have odd numbers.
It's odd.
Odd. That's what I thought.
Linda, I have a question while we're in the warrants there on page 25, which I do have. And I see that there's an awful lot of, a large number of invoices posted on athletic travel. And I wondered whether we're on target on that, because it was,
Yeah, that's what got my
I added it up, it was about $14,500 just in this month alone.
Yes,
Is this as planned, as scheduled?
there's more than 1 month of invoices for the athletic and other travel. And they do kind of run in waves. I don't see a problem with that account coming in over budget. I think it was just the timing of 2 or 3 months of invoices in that one batch.
Right. I see October, September, I see, for athletic, I see October and November in there.
Yeah,
So the balance of our traditional transportation line items, which is probably the monthly bus,
but the athletic itself is very high, at least in this run of warrants. And they're all for October and November.
We are currently running just a little bit higher than we were last year on the athletic and band transportation line. But I don't anticipate a problem with that line from what I've looked at so far with the invoices and what we have for the travel so far.
I had two other, one question and one comment. On 9.2 of the Board of Ed meeting minutes of December 9th, on the strategic school profile, I'm not sure I know what that is, but it's from 2011 and 2012, we're first receiving information on that?
The state strategic
It's
school.
the state's
Yes.
profile.
Yes,
State's
it's,
report.
yeah, that, what they publish is always that far behind.
Well, we're getting a profile that is practically 3 years old.
That's the most recent information that the state has put out.
It's not very useful, I would think. And I had another comment, simply because I was privileged to be at one of these things for the last 3-4 years. I noticed in 9.6 on the school calendar that the Board of Ed was considering having school on Veterans Day, which many school districts do. And it's not my role as a finance member to advocate that. I mean, that's their calendar. However, I must say that as a veteran, I've been beneficiary of that in other school districts that my grandchildren are at, and it's a marvelous thing for the kids and the veterans. And I wondered where we were on that.
I believe the calendar that they approved does not have them going to school on Veterans Day.
I see.
And as they move more towards the regional calendar, they probably will, but I believe the calendar that they approved does not have them going to school on Veterans Day.
Now, this look at the calendar, I think, is revolving around the construction of the school to make sure that students are out fairly as early as possible. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that was part of the conversation.
Linda, under purchase services, and again, I've been serving long enough, I don't know the answer to this. What gets lumped into other contracted services? And we're running very, very low there, only about 11% expended to date. Is that a timing issue? Is it,
Yeah, other contracted services includes the adult education payment, which I don't believe it has been paid yet. There were, what else is in that line? Other contracted services, I'm gonna get mixed up now.
If you don't have it at your
It's-
immediate command, it's okay. You can say.
I do have it. The settlement for the official salaries and security and tickets that goes through the student activity account, and then we do a transfer twice a year. Those payments haven't happened yet.
Say that again, please.
The security and tickets, official salaries, and the hockey ice time all go through the student activity fund. And then we reimburse the student activity fund twice a year.
For the officials, the security?
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
And they pay the ticket takers, and the security and the people who take the tickets, they all get paid through the student activity fund, and then we reimburse them. Except for those people that are employees.
Okay, so the gate receipts don't cover that? The gate receipts go directly to the student activities fund,
Right.
but we pay for the support.
We pay for a
ancillary
portion of them.
services.
They pay more on some of those than what we budget for.
Okay. Good. I suspect this is a question of timing, but textbooks only at 25%. I suspect that will probably stay there until the summer.
I'm sorry, what was it?
The textbooks at 25%.
Yes,
Because we're not going to buy them and start using them mid-year, I suspect.
Right,
So
that'll-
we'll buy
it'll
those
go-
just prior to the end of the fiscal year for
yes.
conclusion next year. Okay. Substitute teachers. Down, well, it's up from last year, but still it's running, well below what we would think it would be. Well, maybe not, because we've got 5 months left, 6 months left. That's probably about right. Is that running a little bit higher? Why this year higher than last year?
We've had a couple,
Long term?
slightly larger number of long-term subs in at this point. We are expecting some of those back, some of them have come back, so it should even out a little bit more.
All right. And lunchroom aides is up a little bit. Is that due to the contract that we settled last year, or was that not?
No, they're not part of any of the contracts.
Contracts, that's right.
No,
Get back to me on that.
yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one, I'm not.
Just do one quick one. I just noticed the telephone service was running a little over. Is there a reason, or just, maybe it's just lopsided?
Part of it is the charges for the Comcast internet service that was added for, and is being charged to this line that wasn't budgeted for all the schools. And Kevin Mitchell's working on trying to get those issues straightened out, but we've had to pay the bills in the meantime, so we're working on telephone and internet
Did they
issues.
replace another provider, or is it just
It-
new?
Yes, they've made some changes, tried to improve some of the lines between the schools.
Okay, are you part of the, I think up and coming is gonna be fiber optic now with the town, is that also the school?
They have a grant for wiring from the state that Kevin Mitchell just got. It's $127,000 grant for technology and wiring. And I will admit, I don't understand all the wiring issues and all the language, but I know they're doing some improvements to wiring in the district.
Any other questions?
Just one quick question on the warrant.
Mike?
On page 5, just caught my attention,
And I couldn't figure out what it was. Brain Pop for $4,500 or around that amount on page 5. Do you know what that might be for?
BrainPop is a software program that does curriculum-based activities and quizzes. So if they're working on a certain science subject matter, it allows the teachers to have this other resource of activities and materials to use. Also allows the kids to do some online activities focused on the curriculum that they're learning.
so it's off.
It's software.
We'll get to the warrant question.
Sure.
Small, really, very small dollar, the CLMP bill. It just happens to be
The page
7. It has to be an odd
Yeah, so we
number.
don't-
CLMP, for some reason, we have 4 bills for Lathrop. Why aren't they consolidated? I'm just curious why there's 4 separate items.
I'll have to try and get you a better answer.
It's like weird.
It's been that way for a long time, and I really don't know why that they are billed in separate
Okay.
amounts. I will find out for you.
That suggests 4 separate meters.
Yeah, it's one building though, right?
Yeah.
It just seems strange. Okay. And then what is, right below that, or two items below that, what is the college internship program?
It's actually a program for autistic students.
So that's essentially a tuition payment? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the name is deceiving, but it's autistic program.
Got it.
Linda, I don't know if you've got an answer to this or not, but some of us attended the facilities assessment project readout. You know where the board is relative to that at this point? Are they going to be adopting some of those in the upcoming budget cycle?
Some of those are going to be. I know that Cliff Gurnham has been working on 2 plans utilizing the recommendations in the facilities needs assessment going forward, one for the site improvement budget, one for capital proposed bonding. So they're trying to split out those projects of what could be done through our budget and what can be done through bonding, and do a 5-year plan to address some of those things that are in the facility needs assessment.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Going once, going twice? Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to accept the report of expenditures
So
for
moved.
the Board of Education for December 2013 in the amount of $4,222,352? It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? None. Thank you, Linda. All right, item 2, approve 2.1 regular meeting minutes of December 16, 2013. Is there a motion? Second?
Second.
Any comments, questions, et cetera? Changes, additions, deletions? Anyone?
Actually, I only had one on, under item 7. I believe that under the report on the high school building committee, I had mentioned that the committee had been only meeting once a month, as opposed to twice. Again, it's not a huge deal, but
Okay.
that's it.
Anybody else?
No, good.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusals? No. Correspondence, 3.1, standing building committee minutes. Mike, anything you want to bring to our attention?
Well, I finally attended.
Yeah, I saw, you made it.
Yeah, I made
They
it.
must have been happy. Did you bring them coffee or something?
Nope. Nope. Yeah, I guess just a couple items. Cox Window Project appears to have some work being done over the 2 breaks, February and April vacation. you might have noted or noticed that the project delays were a result of a specification issue. That's why there were some delays on the project, not affecting the cost, though.
Okay.
Adams Window Doors and Renovations Project, all three of the projects for that were awarded. We're going to be moving quickly on those because they need the estimates for the bonding, so it's going to be one of the bonding projects that will be coming forward to us in the next few weeks. District-wide security upgrades, they are awaiting some contracts for that. Police station HVAC, the building committee, I believe, just want to make sure I got it right, made the recommendation that the Board of Selectmen enter into a contract for the design services for the HVAC. And there was some discussion about energy performance contracting. I believe there's going to be more information at the next meeting. That's under old business on the last page. Which I will tell you, I'm not incredibly familiar with energy performance contracting. What you read in the meeting minutes will probably be, I can't do any better than that.
That's fine.
But I know that in some cases it is an enhancement to the energy savings for the town. But I know they're going to be looking at that in a little bit more detail, so. That's, oh, and I guess for the public, under new business, there has been some concerns about the committee getting enough members. They have been meeting quorum, but they need members. So if anybody in the community is interested in serving on the Standing Building Committee, I would highly recommend it because they could use your help.
Good. Any questions, Mike? Beyond what he's already covered? Good. Item 3.2, Pension Committee. Questions? Any year-to-date stuff?
I don't have the number.
Okay. When will it be ready?
This week.
This week? All right, can you send it out to us when you get it? Thank you.
I just have one, and it's just a little bit for education purposes. It looks like a vote came up to adopt an alternative method for pension plans. I don't have really any familiarity with this, but I was just wondering what were just a little bit of information about why that was declined or rejected.
It really was just a small change in the method used to fund two of the costs, actually one of the cost centers in the Board of Ed plan. In terms of the unfunded liability, it was just a different method. And the pension committee chose not to change their method. They wanted to be consistent with prior years.
Thank you.
Speaking of pension, we had a meeting with the Board of Ed, Board of Finance Budget Subcommittee meeting prior to this meeting, and we were talking about the Board of Ed's got a pretty significant increase in their pension contribution, and Linda had some reference points relative to the funding levels of the various plans. Could we get a copy of that, just updated copy of
I have
that?
it with me, but I'll be happy to send you
Yeah,
copies.
electronically would be fine.
Sure.
Thank you. Not concerned. The numbers all sounded pretty good.
They've all improved.
They've all improved
On the town side.
because of our funding decisions that we've made, and some nice capture in an up market.
Not this week.
Not this week. Yeah, you're right.
You'll see the Board of Selectmen have also taken the required, the recommended contribution, and isn't that budget, and just like we did last year.
Anything further? Move on to item 5. Review and approve the report of expenditures for town government for December 2013. Sure. Hello. What would you like to let us know about?
Okay, revenue.
Thank you. There we go.
At December 31st, 50% of the way through the fiscal year, we've collected 63.53% of our revenue budget, which is quite a bit greater than it was last year at this time, or at the end of December, with to 4%. But I really think that's timing. You could see in the tax collection line that taxes were up. I think just maybe more people paid their taxes
On time?
early, the January installment in December to get an extra tax deduction possibly.
Yep.
We won't really see the effect of that until the February report. Other departments continue to trend positively.
Why is Youth and Family Services up in revenue?
They have been extremely busy, and they are collecting in a timely fashion. In the past, they have had some billing issues. They do not have billing issues any longer, and they're collecting their bills, and they're very busy.
Well, they made an investment in training a couple of years ago.
We did, and we still continue to, the HIPAA training and the billing training with our system, it was a bit expensive.
Right.
And we continue to maintain the proper credentialing for that.
We also increased hours in that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yet the expenditures are below last year, but the revenues are way up. That's a good trend.
It's because of change in personnel.
The police department notices up, what was received is 82%, almost 83%. What does that represent?
The police department is basically charges for the vehicles when they're on a job, when we actually have to bill for the vehicles. Not always do we do that, but if the car is, if they're sitting in the car and it's running, we bill.
Oh, I see.
So that's, it was actually a lot higher during the time of this hurricane, and then we decreased the budget, but evidently they're still billing for that.
I would have expected maybe the finance line to just improve a little with interest rates, but no.
No, unfortunately not.
Okay.
And, you know, our cash has been in a pretty low state, especially at the end of December. Always, it's a low point. And the fact that we were helping fund this high school construction until we borrowed. Yeah.
Any other questions on revenues? Expenditures?
I usually squeezed in my question.
Expenditures are at 60.1% compared to 61.2% last year. Still better than last year. But the departments, I say this always, they do a good job. They know how to manage their budgets. We're going to keep an eye on legal as usual because of the fees for the contracts that are under negotiation. Hard to know exactly what's going to happen there until we get to the end of the year. If you turn to page 2, I did a bottom line, including the Board of Ed comparison of where we are compared to last year without storm expenditures. And so we are at 47.63% compared to 47.99% last year, still right on track.
So I guess I'll just ask a little bit about information systems. Just looks like software licensing support is running a little high. Is it just timing of payments?
Yeah, because we pretty much know when we budget, even a year in advance, what the support agreements are going to be. So that's really timing for the most part.
Is insurance the same issue, timing?
Insurance,
Payment?
we may see a small surplus on workers' comp, although I hesitate to say that because we still have to have our fiscal year audit for fiscal 14. We'll be audited, before we can decide whether there's funds left in that account. But at this point, there should be a surplus in workers' comp at least.
Sheila, postage line item? Only spent about 20 29, 30%, a little low? Is that a timing issue?
You know, in a way, yes, but also we're doing a lot more electronically than we haven't had in the past, so there is a savings
Okay.
from that. That was discussed during the budget hearings as well.
Great.
And I think that it was dropped slightly for next year.
Gotcha. I know I was not paying attention, Jonathan, and I apologize, but I heard on my sign of year's workers' comp, where we seem to be in trouble there.
No. There have already been 3 payments out of the 4 made.
Okay. Just a quick,
There may be an audit premium also in this figure,
okay.
because 2013 was higher than anticipated for one reason, the storm extra payroll.
Okay. Okay.
That's reflected in here.
Yeah, 'cause it gets rolled in, right?
But I think there's only a $67,000 payment left.
Oh, okay, so it'd be a nice surplus.
Yeah, that's
Excellent.
what I was saying earlier.
What, again, next year that we just finished with the Board of Ed, they've got a pretty substantial increase in their workers' comp line item for next year. Is that based on just their experience modification? Do we split it between the town and the Board of Ed, so only their contracts with their employees, or is it split at the macro level?
Well, a couple of things. We actually just spoke with Krima last Friday. We had preliminary numbers for next year, and actually they're better than we thought.
Okay.
On the workers' comp side. And as far as, it's one policy,
Right.
and it is split based on experience.
Okay.
So it's their payroll and our payroll. And because they build in a modification factor
Okay,
for each
employee?
risk code.
Okay. One last one. Building. Part-time salaries, we hadn't budgeted anything for them, and we've expended almost 13,000.
We're going to reclassify that to the high school, because that's it's for George Godobin, who's doing the clerk of the works at the high school.
So that'll go to the bonding project?
Yes.
Thank you.
You are going to see that increase from the original amount that was estimated by the contractor, because we're going to have to bring in some more building officials because of the size of the project. It was poorly estimated to us. So that's an issue I'm working with the building committee, or representatives of the building committee.
Good. Thank you. Any other questions on expenditures?
Capital? That's running high, and I think we've discussed it before, because there's one line item, which is the public works equipment. I think we've discussed why that's over before. Could you just maybe remind me or enlighten me as far as why that's running over?
Encumbrance is pretty high.
Yeah.
If I had the detail with me, I would be able to tell you exactly, but just a second.
With the exception, I mean, everything seems to be okay, with the exception of that one line item.
Yeah, I can't answer you at this point. I'll
Okay.
get back to you tomorrow, and
Yeah, it's just the
I'll
public
check it,
works
'cause it's-
line, that's all.
Yes.
Okay.
That, because we continue to enforce one of those trucks. It hasn't been charged here yet.
It shouldn't be. It's possible that the entry wasn't reported because there was a
Okay.
$70,000 purchase order that we actually continue to enforce. I'll check, that's a good point. It
Okay.
shouldn't be
It's
there,
se-
but it could be.
It's 70,000 over.
Yeah.
I know, I see that, yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm thinking it's
Okay.
possible.
I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Any others?
Quick question, police vehicle maintenance, that seems to be low. that seasonal or?
That's a hard one to actually project. It all depends on, I know they have schedules of replacing tires, replacing certain parts that they do regularly. That could be timing. I can check with the chief and let the board know.
Thank you.
Others?
Just one question.
Lawrence? Ken?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I notice on page 5, I believe, on the January 17th run of warrants, community investment account, it's about $18,500 to the state of Connecticut for the preservation of records and protection of land. What is that? Those are annual fees?
No, those are the extra fees that are collected when there's a recording on the land records. Each month we collect an additional surcharge, and we send the money right over to the state monthly.
Right, it's faster.
It is.
Yes,
And
it
the,
is. Yeah, seasonals and all that.
Doesn't pass through us. The Human Services, page 21, on the January 15th run, the VNA, $7,000, is that like half payment, or is it a full payment for the year?
I believe that's most likely the full payment for the year.
It's late.
They probably didn't send us a bill.
They didn't ask for it.
They also didn't request a budget for fiscal 15.
This came up at the department head
Right,
presentation.
it did.
Yeah.
But most likely that, we try to pay them in one installment.
Other questions on warrants?
No, I just had just one fund question.
That would be?
On the special fund on Jacobs Beach, I wondered with a substantial payment that was made on that special fund item to Coastline Consulting, how much is left on that? I think there's still some work to be done.
Coastline Consulting is the company that's putting the boardwalk.
They're doing the boardwalk. Yeah. Is this the final? This is not the final payment.
No, they're still working on it, and that was funded through the bond.
Right.
This was on special funds.
So I was down here this week, it looks like they're pretty much done with the boardwalk.
Yeah, they had to slow up because of the cold weather.
I think. It looks terrific, though.
Yeah, it's great.
It really does look nice.
You know that they had to have heaters to warm their hands. Touching cold hardware.
Anything else on medical benefits? Another tough month. Where are we with stopgap?
We've exceeded the stop loss by 178,000. I'm in the process of putting together numbers because we got new stop loss quotes for fiscal 15. They're very expensive.
Okay.
And actually, I just did a really quick, see if I could get my fingers on it quickly. The stop loss premium for this year is over 400,000, I think 440,000. So we have a way to go to reach that. Last year, we exceeded the stop. We actually made, it was a benefit to have the insurance.
Yep.
The year before, we didn't reach a
get
stop loss.
No.
So I think we have some, interesting analysis to do. HD Seeger is recommending that we decrease the stop loss. 150,000 is $800,000. If we have a year like we did last year, it would be great.
Okay.
If we have a year like we did in 2012, we lose 800,000. So it's kind of interesting. We're gonna have to look at it, and in some ways, it's going to be an educated guess.
Seeger's recommending we decrease the triggered
Yep.
point?
Mhm.
Okay.
But I'm just worried that they were considering only 1 year of history. You had a bad year last year, so you should not looking at, kind of the bigger picture. I have the numbers all the way back from 2000. Because at one point, this board was you talked about it a lot,
Right,
so I have
yeah.
all those numbers.
I will be interested to see that kind of analysis. Good.
Can I ask a question? Is there any other factor that might play into that? Is our workforce age maybe on average gotten lower, or?
We are waiting to have our utilization meeting with Anthem, and we're going to see all that data.
Okay.
I don't know. At this point, we can just speculate.
Difficult. How much insurance
It really
do you need?
is.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else? Building permits? Golf course?
I have been struggling to get you each month, and Ken, I probably am talking to you right now, the capital reports. So I've been working on trying to let the system run the reports for me instead of trying to piece together what I have to piece together. So I'm going to pass out a report packet. Just take one. That's just on the town, not on the Board of Ed, because I didn't finish the Board of Ed yet, but I will get it for you. Basically, it shows the last two bond authorizations. That's the first 2 pages, and then each project, all of the detail is behind it, and at the very end are the encumbrances that are open, the purchase orders. So it's a lot more than you've seen before. Usually, you just get 1 page. You could tell me what you think. It's easy for me to just run this, but it's also harder for you probably to go through it all. So you can let me know what you think.
All right. Next meeting, you can be prepared to make comment.
So this was through today, pretty much, this report.
Yes.
So since we're meeting in the middle of the month, this is our,
Yeah, I may have ran it, actually. I ran it today, but it's
As
through
of-
December 31st. Now, I could always change that in the future. I could run it through the day we...
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you keep it at the end of the month.
It's-
Consistent
Yeah.
with the rest of
It
our
is-
reports.
Yeah.
That would be my vote. Only one.
Makes sense, though.
Thank you. Anything further from Sheila? No? Thank you.
I have...
That's, I was going to ask you, have a minute?
we could-
Yeah, let's, is there a motion to approve the bills for the town of Guilford for the month of December in the amount of $2,059,717?
So moved.
Second.
A second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, recusals? None. Thank you.
we slid past the golf course, no comments on the golf course.
I asked. Go
You
ahead.
did, you did. No, I didn't.
Right. Good. Okay. Item, stay here for a minute.
Okay.
Item 6 is consider take possible action on request from the Board of Selectmen in regard to capital plan purchase. Owing to the fact that this meeting was postponed by 6 days, the document, the memo we have from the Board of Selectmen is somewhat outdated. However, there was action taken by the Board of Selectmen to approve $118,563 to award a contract for a 2015 tandem axle dump truck with plow and sander. This is a bonded item from the capital plan, doesn't need our approval. Is there a motion to approve same?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Comments, questions? Anything?
Just the usual question, you always do a great job, but did we do well on the bid and come in for less than we budgeted for?
Actually, the bid, when they first came in, were higher, and we've decided to assemble some of the part of the truck down at the Public Works Garage using our labor, and that reduced it to bring it within budget.
Excellent.
You know, we're not running an assembly line down there, but there's certain things.
There's certain
we
things you
can-
can put together. Got mechanics. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, Recusals? No.
I do have just a question. How long does it take to purchase this, get it online, and have it out on the street working?
If you consider the bidding process, you got to write the specs, and then put it out, notice out that we're requesting bids. Bids come in, you go through the whole thing. And once you get it online, about 6 to 8 months.
Wow, from now. So, so next winter.
Yeah. It won't be tomorrow.
It won't open this weekend, snowstorm.
No.
No snowstorm this weekend.
No snowstorms?
No.
Yeah, there's a Super Bowl going on, it can't be a snowstorm.
Right.
Item 7, set the interest rate for Guilford Supplementary Tax Relief Program, as we do every year at this time. Sheila has just passed along to me her recommendation on what we should set the rate, and her recommendation is based upon the current yield on AAA tax-exempt 20-year general obligation municipal bonds, as reported by Thompson Financial, and that's the guideline that we've used for many years. So Sheila is recommending we set the rate at 3.64% for fiscal year 2014-15 for those taking advantage of the Guilford Supplementary Tax Relief Program. Is there a motion?
Yes.
And second? Comments or questions?
I just have a question. Do you happen to recall what it was last year? I think it's kind of a big jump,
I knew
right?
you were going to ask me that.
Yeah.
It is a jump, but there's been a big outflow in the past 6 to 9 months in muni bonds, which has driven the rates up.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening here.
And then, as I understand, you probably correct me if I'm wrong, but we sort of pass on the best borrowing rate that the town can achieve, right, to the program.
Yes.
Okay.
There are very few participants left in this program.
Right. All right, item 8, set the cap for aggregate benefit under section E2 of the Elderly Tax Relief Program Ordinance. I'm going to ask for a motion to table.
So moved.
Second. Reason for same is that this benefit will be assessed, will be based on the assessments from the 10-1-13 reval, and both the first selectman and the finance director are recommending that we consider tabling this cap until after January 31st, 2014, Friday, when the grand list is officially presented. Is it, we got it?
Yes.
Any questions? It's already been moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman,
Abstained?
did
Sir.
you vote on the first item?
Yes, we did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Want to take it back?
No.
Thank you, Sheila. Item 9, committee reports. Mike, anything on the high school?
Gilbert Courier kind of stole my thunder.
Yeah.
I would say, they had a good article.
Yeah, they did.
I will say that they had a meeting on the 14th. I was there. The committee is continuing to weigh expenditures and different scenarios that really do have to do with including the black box or not. The one thing they did do, the committee that is they approved moving forward with design development of the black box theater to get further refinement on the costs. They have not. That does not mean they've decided to put the black box in to the project, because they're still weighing that with other expenditures, but they are moving forward with getting some more detail. And I know the next meeting is tomorrow night, which would be Tuesday, the 28th January.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Just a question about that black box. It was included in the original specs for the high school, correct?
Correct. The ed specs.
Then why has it been left out as a discretionary item?
It was left out it was in the ed specs, but it was actually, there were parts of the black box that were programmatically kept in the building project as it is, but not as a separate building altogether. Now the question is whether the black box components that were in the program of the existing project are sufficient to meet the ed specs. Number one, although actually I shouldn't say that, they will meet the ed specs, but the black box theater as a standalone building would provide a lot more flexibility and programmatic capabilities to the school Board of Ed.
So we're not affecting contingency.
If the black box is put in, yes, it would affect the contingency.
To what extent?
To what extent? Well, that's
Why they're going
a
up.
fairly good question,
Bid.
It could be a big one.
because there's a 5% contingency that right now the building committee is holding, that they're not doing anything with until they really look at everything in totality. One of those is the Black Box Theater and the cost of that. And one of the factors, actually, one of the major factors is when to put it in the project. Whether you put it in as part of the project now, or, and where you put it in, whether it's connected, well, it would be connected, but it's a little bit difficult to describe, but there's different solutions for it, or options. And also, there's really two options on when to put it in. You could either put it in as part of the project now, or you could wait until the project's done, open the school, and then put the black box in later as a separate project, which is not logistically a very feasible way of doing it, because it means you're adding cost and demoing. So disruption again, remobilization. So the building committee is taking it under very harsh scrutiny of whether it's going to go in or not. There are different cost scenarios that they've put together as far as whether you add the black box in or not. And that deals with the cash flow of the project. And I have to admit, I had the chart. They had different scenarios. Their finance subcommittee chairman, Bill Mulligan, did a really nice job looking at the scenarios, and I don't have that particular sheet with me. I left it at home. But it's everything from looking at it in it's a percentage of spend that you would do and how much you milk down the contingency. So it's a lot of numbers. It's a spreadsheet of numbers, and it comes down to spending all of the money or spending very little of the money. And spending very little of the money is not putting the black box in. Spending nearly all of it is depending on when you put the black box into the project.
Mike, I have a question. Do they work with any numbers that show what plausible bid would occur if it was integrated with the project, and what kind of plausible bids we might see if it was outside of the project?
That's what they're doing now. That's
Okay.
what we're going to do now. Just depending again on
Favorable, maybe?
the option that they select, yes.
Anything further, Mike?
Nope.
Anybody want to comment on any of the various budget subcommittee meetings? The most recent one we have with the Board of Ed this evening, or the Selectmen's workshop meetings with the department heads? Unfortunately, I couldn't make those owing to my work schedule. I hate when that gets in the way of my civic activity, having to go to work. Any comments? None? Other than the fact that they're well underway. I heard very positive things about the Board of Selectmen workshops. I know that the board is working with the department level recommendations, and will probably be exacting a pound of flesh or two from the number. More than a pound or two. And the Board of Ed most recently came in, their current budget, which the Board of Ed has not yet approved, the administration's budget to the Board of Ed currently represents about a 3.07% increase. So more to follow. And just for those in the viewing audience, the Board of Finance will be meeting again on February 13th, at which time the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education will be presenting their 2014-2015 budgets for our consideration. There will, on March 4th, the Board of Finance will conduct a public hearing, which will take place at 7:30 at the Community Center, the large room of the Community Center. And that is the public's opportunity for input. The budgets will be presented by both for the Board of Selectmen, for Selectman Mazza will make that presentation, and I believe the Board of Education usually has the triumvirate, Finance, Superintendent, and Chair of the Board of Education. So it takes them three to do what you do in one. I don't know. How does that work?
We should change it.
Yeah, we'll get Sheila up there. She can do some work. No? But that is the opportunity for the public to hear the budgets and ask questions at that point. We also have two Board of Finance workshops scheduled, one for March 6th also at 7:30 here at the community center, and one for March 10th at the community center if needed. Those workshops are designed for us to collectively work together and recommend a budget to referendum. Sometimes we've done it in one workshop, sometimes it takes two. But that is also an opportunity for the public to come in, weigh in, give us their feedback on what they see relative to the proposed spending plans and revenue plan from both the Board of Education and the Board of Selectmen. Anything else? Any old business? New business? Public forum? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Unanimous? Thank you.